It's so hard for me to sit back here in this studio looking at a guy on here hollering my name when last year I spent more money on spilt liquor in bars from one side of this world to the other than you made. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down.
And now, the two shitheads welcome you to Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk.
What's up, Jay?
Larry, what is going on?
Not too much. Everyone, welcome to Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk. On another week, we have another special guest tonight by the name of Brandon Espinosa. He wrestles out of OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. So it's going to be pretty interesting to talk with him here shortly, Jay.
Hey man, I'm digging your new cap there.
You like it?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got one myself.
Uh-oh. Kind of look like twins, except I'm the sexier one.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, so anyway, before we bring Brandon on, we want to thank our sponsors, Habits Beer and Tobacco, 960 Franklin Street down by the hospitals, and also Tulum's Living a Dream Bar and Grill, 90 Lule Street. So, all right, you ready to talk some wrestling with Brandon?
Bring them on. Let's go.
All right. Hello, Brandon. Welcome to Extreme Talk with the two shitheads.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely.
It's definitely our pleasure, man. So, right at the beginning, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been wrestling for about 16 years now. I started in a local fed down here in St. Louis called MMWA, or as everybody in this area calls it, South Broadway. And, just over the years have, trained with various other trainers and, and traveled as much as I can. I think I've wrestled for a little over 200 different promotions over the time, about 1,600 matches as well. And that's basically been my whole, background with wrestling, at least.
Wow. What would you say was your first memory of professional wrestling?
That's easy. So my first memory of pro wrestling, and it's kind of funny because I've always been a huge wrestling fan since I was like 2 or 3. But like one of the first major things I remember is me and my dad were playing around, and he ended up giving me just a typical scoop slam onto the bed, and I ended up jamming my neck pretty bad. And so I went to the doctor, and the pediatrician was like, "Oh, what happened?" "Oh, my dad threw me." So they're like writing down really hardcore in their book about, child abuse and stuff. And they're like, "Really? He threw you down?" I was like, "Yeah, I was Macho Man Randy Savage, and he was Hulk Hogan, and he picked me up and body slammed me, and I got hurt." And they're like, "Oh," and then you can see them like scratching everything up. And so, yeah, that's like the first big memory and thing that I remember with wrestling was I think I was like 2 or 3 years of age. And so since then, I've just, been addicted to it.
So who initially broke you in?
Probably my dad. It's hard to remember exactly who, but, when I was 2 or 3 years of age, I think we were more, kind of a tight-knit family. So I'm pretty sure it was my dad, because we had cable and whatnot, and I'd sit there and watch it with him.
Well, who initially who'd you go for training initially?
Oh, training. Oh, so it was MMWA, South Broadway Athletic Club. It's right downtown in St. Louis, Missouri, and I started training under a guy named Gary Jackson. He was a like a WWF, WCW kind of enhancement talent that would come in. And then another guy by the name of Philly Blunt would train me as well down there. So those are the first two guys that really kind of broke me in with the wrestling and teaching me the ropes and teaching me all the bumps and stuff like that.
Cool.
Awesome. So, Brandon, before my next question, I want to apologize again for our mishap last week. I shit the bed on that one and had you told you one time and scheduled you for another, so that was my fault.
Oh, it happens, man. No problem.
And looking at your shirt, Pokemon, are you a big nerd?
Yeah, like I am a super nerd. Like I've got kids, and like most of them are named after like different comic books and
Nice.
whatnot. Then like my son's huge into Pokemon, so I've been in it since I was like fourth or fifth grade, and like he's into it, and Dragon Ball and My Hero Academia. Matter of fact, a lot of my ring attire that I wear nowadays is actually got a theme to it. All of them except for like the solid black pair I have, but all of them have some kind of theme to it if you look at them closely. And it's been a great thing with Pokemon, especially with like Dragon Ball as well, is that my son and I can share that. You know, it started when I was a kid, but you know, just going and something that I can as well. And it's just it's been great to have these things, you know, in life just continue.
I think Brandon is having some technical issues right now.
Can you hear us, dude?
Gotcha. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I can hear you now. Give me one moment. All right. Can you see me and hear me a little better?
We can hear you, but you're froze.
Hello.
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yep, but your video's just froze.
Oh, okay. Can you see? Is it still frozen?
Yeah, it's blotchy.
Gotcha. See, I'm on my Wi-Fi, and I think that may be the issue because I don't have a computer with like a camera on it or anything like that.
Oh, I gotcha. You seem to be okay now.
Okay. Well, I disconnected my Wi-Fi and then reconnected it, so sorry.
Oh, no worries. So, tell everybody what feds you currently work for or worked for in the past.
So the two primary ones at this moment is World League Wrestling and Ohio Valley Wrestling. I train actually currently at the Harley Race Academy. I've been there for about a year and a half now. Every couple of years, I kind of change where I'm training at and, you know, who I'm learning from. Even 16 years in, you can still learn stuff. And Leland's been a great aid in me on relearning some of the basic stuffs that I didn't realize my steps were a little wrong on. So that's really helped. But those are the two main feds that I wrestle for. I do go in and out of other feds in the like Memphis area as well as like the Indiana area that I go to when I don't have dates with those two companies. One of them's like Pro Wrestling Mid-South. Another one is a company called Revolutionary Wrestling Entertainment. They're based out of Grubbs, Arkansas. A couple months ago, I wrestled for Championship Wrestling in Memphis. Or from Memphis. I think it's called Championship Wrestling from Memphis. And, you know, I just kind of go in and out of places and other places like one in Madison, Indiana called Supreme Wrestling. So those are kind of the places that are kind of filled up my schedule and keep me going at least 3 to 4 times a week.
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool. So, so how long have you been wrestling?
So my debut was October 8th of 2005. So roughly about 15 3/4 years at this point.
Okay, so far in your career, who's the best person you worked with in the ring?
Best person to work with in the ring. I mean, there's different people for different aspects. Like I had a mini feud up in Illinois with Jimmy Jacobs. It was like 4 or 5 matches, and like he was somebody that was great to work with because up front it was like really, you know, it wasn't all about him. That's not what I mean. It was all, you know, put together by him. And then it got to the point that he was like very trusting in my abilities that he allowed me to put them together. He'd just show up and be like, hey man, this is what I want to hit tonight. You tell me when we're doing it. I'm like, okay. And that really opened my eyes up that I'm a lot better at this than I thought I was. I did train under Michael Elgin for a little bit, and the match I had with him really opened my eyes on what more I needed to do to step up. And then also my first trainee that I trained was a guy named Ace Hawkins, and he was actually Pro Wrestling Illustrated Rookie of the Year, I think in like 2009. And like ending up wrestling with him, allowed me to see that I can teach other people and that I can guide them and help them, shape their careers as well. So those are some of the, matches that have really helped me realize what I could do with this.
Okay.
Very cool.
So the other side of that coin, we do a thing on here where it's hashtag shithead. Who's the biggest shithead that you've been in the ring with or in the locker room or somebody that just was not a good dude?
Brandon, I will give you $1 million if you say Roman Reigns.
I have been in the locker rooms with Roman Reigns. So I not locker rooms. I've been in catering with Roman Reigns, and no, he was really nice to us. So I can't say that, unfortunately. He was a really good dude, and there are some guys that sometimes when you're there just kind of like stare off into their own direction, and whatnot. But he was the guy that introduced himself to all of us and whatnot. So that was cool. Early on in my career, I don't really want to name names, but like early on in my career, and even to this day, when I go to locker rooms, especially kind of in this area, it's a lot of the older guys just really look down on us younger guys. And even though I'm 33, they still see me as a young guy because I'm willing to do all the stuff the younger guys do. I can do dives if I want to. I can do a backflip. I can do front flips, and I allow that in my matches with the guys that I wrestle with. And, there's a lot of guys that really haven't left this area that look down on us for it. And and they don't teach us the proper way of things. And like, matter of fact, the first match I ever had in my career, the gentleman I had the match with, I thought of him highly when I started. And then like a couple years down the road, I realized different things. And he had approached me about a match and, us wrestling again. And I was like, hey man, I would love to, go over stuff, but I have a lot of matches until that point. He's like, okay, cool, man. Well, he's like, how I am with wrestling and we'll talk about it. I said, yeah, that's the thing. I know how you are. So we really do need to talk this match and figure it out. But like, we'll talk about it. Well, he didn't like how I approached him. And I show up to the training facility a week later and the match had been changed. So it's just some of the old guys, they don't want to let the old guard down and allow the new era to come in or the new wins. And it is what it is. But, I've gotten to the point that I know how to adjust appropriately in the locker room or appropriately in the ring that it doesn't really bother me at this point.
Okay. All right. So what if you had one dream opponent, past, present, who would that be?
Everybody in this area especially knows it'd be Eddie Guerrero. So
okay.
I mimicked a lot of his stuff in my early years. And like, it is weird and odd as it may seem, when Eddie, broke out onto like WWF at that time, it enabled me to actually see my heritage more. I always knew I was a Mexican, but like my family was kind of sheltered with it because one side of my family is I guess you want to say American, and then the other side is Mexican, and like I was really sheltered away from the Mexican side. So seeing Eddie Guerrero being a Hispanic wrestler born in the United States, like it was really cool to understand and get to see some of the Latin heritage and the Latin like culture on TV, and just the way, and then on top of it with his whole his aggression in the ring and just the way that he was in the ring just really caught my eyes even as a young viewer.
Great. What would you say your biggest accomplishment has been thus far in your career?
Biggest accomplishment, it's hard to fully say. I've had a lot of dark matches with Ring of Honor. And like, I know back in, it was like February a few years ago, me and another gentleman from the Elgin training system, we were able to get on the show. And it was actually me and him in a tag match against the Washington Bullets, if I'm correct. I think they're based out of Atlanta. And ending up after the match, we were given 10 minutes for the pre-show, which was pretty cool. And after the match, we actually got streamered by the fans. So I guess that was kind of kind of a way of them saying they appreciated even the pre-show match. So that was definitely cool. And then obviously, like, I've gotten a bunch of work with WWE as an extra, and just, that's the end all be all for a lot of guys, is to actually be able to work there, regardless if it's, just being there to listen to what they need, or, getting a full-time contract. So getting that, paycheck in the mail was pretty cool, as well as the tax forms. I really, really, really like that. And even my son thought it was hilarious to see me the first time on WWE TV when he was like 3 or 4. So those two things are really cool.
That's awesome, man.
So if you don't mind me asking, how much was the paycheck for being an extra?
I don't want to go into details on that. But I mean, let's put it this way: for one time you go, like, it's either a 2 to 3 week, or not a 2 to 3 week, I'm sorry, 2 to 3, show thing that you typically get signed to go do. And it was enough to make my mortgage payment. So that's all I'll say on that.
Okay. That's fair enough. All right. So, where do you see yourself in 2 years in your wrestling career?
In 2 years? As bad as it sounds, in like 2 years, I'll be 35. I wish I could be as good as like Craig Keegsman over in Kansas City, as well as Jeremy Wyatt, where they're starting to kind of see a second coming of their wrestling ability. And they're like, I know Jeremy Wyatt just celebrated 40 years, and I know Keegsman is also a couple years young or older than me. I think he might have hit 40, and they're starting to see like more and more and more now than they did, when they started 10, 15 years ago. I wish I could say that. But honestly, in 2 years, like, I think it'll be winding down at that point. I would love to be further along, and I would love to get more things. And currently I have a decent gig with OVW, and I'm, booked on all their events and everything, and whatnot. And and I love it there. I mean, it's a TV show. My kids get to watch it on Fight TV. So like in 2 years, most likely, I'm hoping, something bigger has happened by then. But if not, like, I think I'll still be doing in and out of OVW and World League Wrestling.
Pretty cool.
So if you would have one regret in your career, what would you say that would be?
The one regret is, and it's, I don't know. I mean, I would say to get out there more, but I had kids at an early age. I mean, I had my first daughter when I was 22. And so that, it didn't hinder my ability at all, because it was my choice, to take certain bookings and whatnot. So I can't say that. As a matter of fact, I know what my one regret is that I have yet to get myself a passport. That's the big regret. I have not gotten myself a passport yet. And so, like, I know that I have promotions in the UK that I've contacted before. I know I have places in Canada, and I know I have places in Mexico that I could always reach out to and find work with through other means, and other people that I've worked with that have said they help me. So that would probably be the biggest regret. I mean, I could have gone and done other stuff, but I just don't have a passport. Haven't ever got it. I've been more reluctant on it, and not reluctant. I've been more concentrated on what I'm doing here. And then obviously, making sure I do have time with my children, as well as time with, any other means of, income that I would have to take care of.
Well, travel can't be easy now anyhow.
Oh yeah. No. Travel is, I mean, I've like, when you say it's not easy, what part are you talking about?
Well, just with the whole pandemic and things.
See, here's the thing. And this is my stance on that. I didn't come back to wrestle. I took off, when the pandemic started in March, and then I waited until October, and that was my set date to return. And I had to take a month off because I did get COVID, but I am approaching event number like 80 and 81 and 82 this week that I've had since coming back in October. It's not as hard as people made it seem. Now, the source of extra income, yeah, that's kind of, not there. I'm not losing money in wrestling, with the pandemic, but it's obviously I'm not making what I was before. And also it's just the convenience of finding work within your area has become sparse. But for me, like I said, man, I've been pretty much going 4 shows a week since almost October. So it's not that hard. It's just you have to be willing to travel. You have to be willing to drive. You may have to be willing to take a pay cut. And by no means am I shaming anybody that just didn't want to go out with the pandemic. I completely understand. I've had it twice, and it is not fun. But, you do have to be willing to sacrifice the possibility of getting it if you did want to go out there.
All right.
All right, Brandon. So our next segment we call Off the Top. We're going to name some wrestlers. We're about 10 wrestlers.
Okay.
And the first thing that comes to the top of your head, you just shout it out.
Okay.
All right. And you don't have to keep it PG. If you want to say something nasty, by all means, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. JJ, go ahead. I'll let you start.
Okay, so we talked about Eddie Guerrero earlier. What Chavo?
Amazing. Underrated.
Okay. Rey Mysterio.
I mean, he's an inspiration. Definitely. I mean, he's a guy that has paved the way for a lot of young wrestlers and a lot of luchadors on how they want to approach the business.
Edge.
Again, I mean, I would like to say inspiration again, but I'm trying to think of the proper word. I mean, the fact that he was able to come back after 9 years with fusion surgery and still perform at a relatively high ability and high class, that definitely anybody who ever gets an injury should definitely look at like Edge or even like Daniel Bryan, man, just coming back and being able to, persevere through all the issues that they had to go over.
Okay. All right. Randy Orton.
Hometown hero. I mean, he's from St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, hometown hero for sure. I mean, he's I mean, I've met him a couple times, in the backstage. Again, good dude. We'll talk to people if they approach him. But yeah, I mean, he's just from St. Louis, so everybody wants to be like him.
Last one I got, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle. I mean, Olympic medalist. I mean, he's also an inspiration, a guy that dealt with a broken freaking neck and still still won the gold medal, and then came in and and again, it's a guy that's an inspiration because like when you look at his backstory of when he left WWE through his TNA Impact career and what he had to go through with his addictions, and the fact that he was able to get over that and overcome it. I mean, again, it's just another guy that you're inspired by, that if you are on those roads, that it is possible to come out of the other side.
Cool.
All right. So.
All right, Striker, hit him up.
Thank you. So Matt Hardy.
Someone I looked up to as a kid, man. I mean, him and Jeff, like, They were also two guys in the beginning of my career that I paved a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, like him and Jeff's boots that they wore when they first came in and broke through as the Hardy Boys, those ones with the black with kind of the white, white going up it. Like I'm actually trying to get a pair of boots like themed similar to that.
Owen Hart.
Tragedy. I remember being a kid and hearing about his death, and that was the first time that I started to kind of realize certain things with wrestling, and that these people aren't just superheroes we see on TV or super villains. Like they're legit people. And the fact that his death, it didn't hurt, but I'm sure it did hurt, but his death impacted so many people that it just really showed you that these people really reach into people's hearts, and just they know what they're doing with it, and people can care for people on TV and entertainers.
All right, so how about Chris Benoit?
Ooh,
I'm
coming in hot tonight, boys.
Yeah,
coming in hot, brother. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, it's hard. Like being a parent, like I can't understand the mentality of it. I can't. I mean, my older two are with my ex-wife, and like we share custody, and like even having somebody possibly being take over some of the parenting role, like you have to it's part of being a parent. You got to be willing to you got to know what's best for your children. And unfortunately, like what he did with his son was, it's kind of, it's not forgivable, and same with his wife. And it's like, it's really hard to overlook what he did. I mean, still a phenomenal wrestler in the ring, but it's hard to kind of overlook what happened with it.
Well, so to Larry's point, though, just even bringing that name up, can you separate the two? Because I personally have a hard time watching a Chris Benoit match.
I have to say that I've only watched a couple since that's happened, and it was more so to watch. Like the one match I watched was like William Regal versus Benoit for the Pillman tribute show. But yeah, other than that, like I really don't think I've sat down and tried to watch or even thought about watching a Benoit match. I mean, obviously we see gifs online of his, aggressiveness and the way that he's was able to perform, but it is hard sometimes to separate what happened.
Yeah, I find it hard. I can't watch a Benoit match. But anyway, Striker, please go ahead.
All right, Orange Cassidy.
Oh, Jesus
Hilarious.
Christ.
Hilarious.
Absolutely.
Obviously, JJ's not a fan of him. So here's my thing. That dude has a gimmick. He does the gimmick great. And he can wrestle. Like you can see his old stuff, and you can even see glimpses of it when he snaps out of the Orange Cassidy role. I mean, he's literally what we would look at in the 80s and 90s with the gimmicks and over the top gimmicks, and he plays it. It's sometimes hard. It's sometimes hard to take it serious. Obviously with him, just because he's so mellow. But again, he's a gimmick, and he's getting it over, and he's doing his best to do it, and he tries to even stick in it outside of the ring, which is what Wrestling 101 was taught to me, at least back in 2005. So again, hilarious guy, hilarious gimmick and whatnot. And I know a lot of people frown upon it, but again, it makes me laugh to see it and how good he is at it and how the other guys are able to work with it.
All right. And lastly, describe Brandon Espinosa in one word.
Idiot. There we go.
You can become a shithead if you would like. We will let you.
Well, it's just idiot for different things in life, in wrestling. You know what I mean? You could have done certain things that a promoter asks, and then you don't because you have your reasonings, and it's nothing necessarily a moral dilemma or anything like that, or just pushing the buttons too many times. And like I said, just an idiot. If I would have maybe listened a little bit more and done more of things that I was asked, maybe I would have gotten more. But in the same retrospect, maybe if I did, I wouldn't be where I'm at as well. Because even though I know I'm not upper indies or anything like that, but I have a pretty comfortable and a pretty comfortable spot where, a lot of guys would love to have at least in that. So I don't know. But yeah, I just think maybe if I wasn't such an idiot sometimes that things would be better.
All right, buddy. So go ahead and plug away. Let us know where people can find you. Social media, whatever you got going on, let us know.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, you can find me on Facebook. Easy. Just type in Brandon Espinosa. I'm the guy in the little profile pic that has white eyes on. And then on Twitter, it's just at the THE_B for Brandon _Espinosa. And my name is spelled with an SA, not a ZA. So if you put ZA, you probably won't find it. Common error that I see all the time. Matter of fact, I had to get that changed on more recently on a promotion I work for regularly that had put my name wrong on a flyer. And I was like, hey, you got to change that. I will not promote it until my name is changed. So yeah, just remember it's SA. Instagram, I have it, but all I ever do is just post my flyers. It's the same. I think it's at the Brandon Espinosa on there. You can find me on YouTube as well. I try to regularly upload matches that are not on a TV show or not on a podcast or a streaming service, or not a podcast, a streaming service of some sort. And that's at youtube.com/the Brandon Espinosa. And yeah, if you ever have any questions or anything, you can always send me a message on there. I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. I also do have a Pro Wrestling Tees website, or Pro Wrestling Tees store as well. Pretty sure it's /the Brandon Espinosa on that as well.
Can we get any Brandon Espinosa merchandise sent our way?
I mean, yeah, if you guys send me something, I could definitely try to get something coordinated for sure.
Awesome. And we will proudly display it on our show.
Yeah, I love the little background you have on yours with all the photos and stuff behind it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. And then we got JJ's nice background. He has a nice little background. It looks like flowers and stuff on the back.
Well, hey, listen, I'm currently in a moving period, and it'll be put together. So screw you, Striker.
Moving? It's been this way since day one.
I didn't say I was moving.
Oh, well, you didn't specify.
Uh-huh.
All right, Brandon. So how about cutting us a 30-second promo about being on the show tonight? And if you, the more you bust balls with JJ, the better.
Okay, so 30-second promo. All right. Well, we're here at the Extreme Pro Wrestling Talk Show, and if you want to talk about what's not extreme, it's definitely JJ's background. There's nothing extreme about that at all. It's just flowers. But to each its own. But I'm Brandon Espinosa, and this was a great time to be on here.
All right. Thank you, brother. Our pleasure.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Brandon. Again, as JJ said, thank you for coming on the show, and best of luck in your upcoming matches. And
I thought you were gonna future endeavor him.
no, I caught myself this time.
For it, too.
All right.
I messed up one time. I said future endeavors, so I watched myself this time. All right, my man. Well, again, thank you, and I will. I'll send you a mailing address and see if you can send us some stuff, and we'll proudly show it on the show.
Sounds great. I appreciate it. I'll definitely send some stuff.
All right, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you,
you,
guys.
buddy.
Have a good night. And there you have it, Brandon Espinosa and your flowery background.
I didn't realize there was flowers back there. I got to do something.
Honestly, I couldn't tell what it was. It looked like flowers to me.
It's not flowers.
I couldn't see. Well, nobody could see over your big ass head. I was just going by. Usually, people have flowers on their wall.
I can't wait to see you again.
Yeah. All right, so we are on to
Spit it out.
I'm trying to think of what I want to say. The next interview here in about less than 5 minutes. So
2 a days. I love them. Thanks for booking them, brother.
What else would you be doing besides sitting on your couch eating Cheetos, watching the Peacock Network?
Eating pizza rolls.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you here in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. And that is interview number 1 for tonight. Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk. We will see you in about 5 minutes.